Hi guys, today we will commence this video with a few questions. Let us contemplate how many of the following 4 questions pertain to you. Question 1. Do you relish fruit for dessert after a meal? Question 2. Do you indulge in a cup of coffee or tea right after finishing a meal? Question 3. Do you sit still and relax or watch TV after a meal? Question 4. Do you feel so tired after a meal that you doze off right away? These minor habits that you follow after a meal can cause severe damage to your health. If you can relate to any of these, you need to stop immediately. Such behaviors can amass and lead to several diseases, which is why your post-meal habits are of utmost importance. Therefore, I will explain to you today why you shouldn't be doing these 4 things right after a meal. Firstly, the behavior you should avoid after a meal is eating fruit as dessert. Have you ever eaten fruit for dessert after a meal and had an upset stomach? Many people believe it to be a psychological reason, but it's not. It's because your stomach and small intestine digest different nutrients. Fruits eaten after a meal don't pass through the stomach as easily. The reason being, the food you ate earlier is still in your stomach and being digested. You might be pondering whether this means that fruit mixes with the rest of the food, but the simple sugars that make up fruit are digested in the small intestine, not the stomach. Therefore, no matter how long they sit in your stomach, they won't be digested. Not only that, but the sugars in fruit ferment, causing gas and bloating. The tannic acid in fruit also contributes to indigestion. Tannic acid binds to proteins in other foods in the stomach and interferes with digestion. Tannic acid also combines with calcium to form crystals, which can eventually block calcium absorption. Secondly, you shouldn't be drinking coffee or tea after a meal. Office workers often drink coffee after lunch to avoid hunger pangs. In fact, in dense office neighborhoods, cafes are full of people after lunch. But this behavior is not very good for our bodies. Although the caffeine in coffee has a wakefulness effect, which can help prevent hunger pangs, the habit of drinking coffee right after a meal can actually lead to chronic fatigue. The caffeine and tannins in coffee bind with the vitamins and minerals in the food you eat and flush them out of your system, resulting in less nutrient absorption. Also, while the caffeine in coffee is a wake-up call, it also overexcites the sympathetic nervous system, which causes you to expend extra energy. So you get a little bit of a mental boost, but then you fall back into a deeper hole, and your fatigue levels actually increase. The tannins and caffeine in coffee also interfere with the absorption of iron. When iron in your body encounters tannins, it creates tannic iron, which can reduce iron absorption by as much as half. Also, when iron encounters caffeine before it can be absorbed in the stomach, it binds with it and is excreted in the urine. The best time to drink coffee and tea is about 30 minutes after your meal and after your stomach has absorbed some of the food. Thirdly, you shouldn't be sitting still after eating. For many of us, it's typical to sit down to work or sit on the couch and watch TV right after eating. However, this habit of stopping movement and sitting for long periods of time after eating is something you should break immediately. After a meal, your blood sugar inevitably rises, even if you don't have diabetes. Sitting for long periods of time with elevated blood sugar after a meal is a significant risk factor for blood sugar management and vascular health. The world-renowned Mayo Clinic in the United States warns that sitting is as harmful as smoking, which can cause premature death. All the food we eat is broken down into glucose, amino acids, and fatty acids, but not all of it is used for energy or to make blood or hormones. It's only used as much as we need. The nutrients we don't need are mostly converted into fat for storage. In our caveman days, this was necessary because we didn't have an abundance of food like we do today. We had to starve for a few days after we ate, so we converted whatever little nutrients we had into fat for storage. That's what's written into our DNA. If you don't move after a meal, your body, in a way that's hardwired into your DNA, will store all the remaining nutrients as fat. This puts us at risk for all kinds of inflammation and cardiovascular disease. Therefore, immediately after eating, get up and go for a brisk walk for at least 15 minutes to reduce the amount of glucose stored as fat. As you walk, keep your spine and chest straight and your gaze straight ahead or slightly up. When you walk, make sure your heels hit the ground first, and take a strong step forward. And don't eat too much for lunch because overeating is actually worse. Lastly, you should not lie down and take a nap after eating. Many office workers use the rest of their lunch break to catch up on sleep. A 20-minute nap a day can keep you from falling asleep at work and help you focus better. However, if you're sleeping in the wrong position, it can lead to health problems. If you're an office worker, you've probably noticed that most people nap on their stomachs at their desks. This position puts a lot of strain on your neck and spine. It's been said that sleeping on your stomach puts more than twice the load on your neck than sleeping on your back, straining your cervical vertebrae. If you stay in this position for too long, it can put pressure on the discs in your neck, which can lead to a herniated disc. Keep in mind that if you continue to sleep on your stomach at your desk, your neck will curve forward even more, which can lead to a curvature of the spine or even a herniated disc. It's important to remember that it can also tighten the chest and compress the stomach, which can lead to indigestion symptoms such as bloating, gut pain, and belching. But for those of us who live with chronic fatigue, we can't keep ourselves from taking a quick nap, can we? That's why we're going to show you how to take a nap with the right posture. When napping, you want to make sure your upper body isn't too curved. Avoid sleeping on your stomach with your arms in an X or with your head tilted back in your chair. Instead, place a cushion or book on your desk and lay down on it. Your body should also be about 10 to 15 centimeters away from your desk to reduce strain on your back and neck. After a nap, it's always a good idea to take 10 to 20 minutes to do some light stretches, such as stretching, to loosen up any tight muscles. This will help prevent muscle pain, spinal damage, indigestion, and other after effects that can occur later. In conclusion, these are 4 things that you should avoid doing immediately after a meal. Mindless behaviors can stack up and cause irreversible health deterioration. Giving up coffee, going for walks, not lying down right away, and not eating fruit may be challenging in the short term, but I urge you to take the time to develop a long-term health plan to help you live a healthy centenarian life. Remember, it's these little things you do after a meal that can be damaging to your health. These behaviors can add up and lead to a host of diseases, which is why your post-meal habits are so important. That's it for our health talk today. If you found it interesting, please subscribe 5 Minutes Health Talk channel and don't miss out next story. Thank you, have a great day.